We are going to create an OpenClaw Telegram skill that can render interactive charts. For example, a user could ask show MSFT historical stock prices for the last 5 days in March 2026 as a table and draw a chart. The OpenClaw TG Canvas repository is a specialized bridge server that connects your OpenClaw gateway to a Telegram mini application. It allows your AI agents to move beyond simple text bubbles and render a live interactive canvas directly inside your Telegram chat. Telegram mini applications are web applications loaded in Telegram built-in web view and integrated with bots and Telegram APIs. In general, you can display anything that you would normally show on a web page: images, styled HTML, charts, markdown content, and more. In addition, it will show how to open a terminal and execute shell commands, for example, run an executable on the target machine from Telegram. We can also connect to the OpenClaw control UI called the dashboard and work with it directly from inside Telegram. We have two separate applications called OpenClaw skills. The first one is the OpenClaw TG Canvas skill, which provides three capabilities: the web view rendering, an interactive terminal directly from Telegram, and access to the OpenClaw dashboard from inside Telegram. The second skill is our own custom skill. With it, you can ask queries such as Apple daily closing price history from March 1 to March 8, 2026. The skill will show the values in the chart and also connect to OpenClaw TG Canvas to render interactive charts inside the Canvas view. We will start with the OpenClaw TG Canvas skill to enable canvas rendering. For this step, running the OpenClaw gateway is not required. I downloaded the OpenClaw TG Canvas repository, which is a Telegram mini application canvas, and modified it by adding some commands in a package.json. I created samples folder as well as making several changes to server.js. Originally, you couldn't properly connect to the control UI, which we will see. The dashboard would appear, but it wasn't functioning because some required parameters were not being sent as they should be. OpenClaw TG Canvas needs a server to host the Canvas web interface and handle communication between Telegram, WebView UI, and OpenClaw services. The canvas itself doesn't require the OpenClaw gateway to be running because it only needs the server to serve the web view and handle local interactions. The gateway is only needed for backend services beyond the canvas, such as connecting to remote OpenClaw resources or orchestrating multiple skills. Telegram mini applications web view require publicly accessible URL so that Telegram can load your web content inside the application. If you're running the OpenClaw TG Canvas server locally, for example on your laptop, it's not accessible from the internet by default. Cloudflare is a small command line tool from Cloudflare that creates a secure tunnel between your local machine and the internet. Normally, if you run server on your computer, for example localhost 3000, only your machine can access it. Cloudflare allows people or services on the internet to access it through temporary public HTTPS URL. Command runs Cloudflare tunnel y Cloudflare, so local TG Canvas server running on HTTP localhost 3721 port is reachable over the internet through a temporary HTTPS URL. So this is the cloned and modified OpenClaw TG Canvas repository, and we run the npm run tunnel command. First, you should install Cloudflare globally by running npm install -g Cloudflare. So now I'm running the npm run tunnel command, and the public URL is what you will see. I copy it, paste it into the environment file. The next command to run is npm run setup bot. So instead of the menu button, it says the canvas button in the bot to open the mini application URL via set chat menu button. Next, it registers the canvas command via set my commands. For example, in one of my bots shown in the screenshot, default menu button appears. In the bot where I run the setup command, the canvas button is displayed instead. Now let's run the server. npm start. So the server.js is running, and when clicking on the canvas button, the files on the main applications are loaded and displayed in the mini application. So you can see the terminal and control buttons displayed on the canvas. These are the buttons. Now we can push HTML content, images, charts, and markdown content to the canvas using the push command. Note that typing hi doesn't trigger a response because the OpenClaw gateway is not active, so the bot cannot process commands. For this push step, running the OpenClaw gateway is not required. I also created PowerShell command to easily push HTML content from a file using the command. Now let's push sample HTML chart to the canvas. After pushing it to the canvas, you can see the interactive chart, which is an HTML chart using Chart.js underneath. Now let's push div this time. Note that after each push, the previous content is overridden. The text hello world with inline CSS is rendered. So this time we will render an image. Each time we enter the canvas, it will be display random image. This time we're pushing Markdown content and Markdown content from the file. We can also run npm run health to check if everything is okay. And npm run clear to clear the canvas. Let's see the terminal button. The terminal is an in-browser shell that lets you run commands on the machine where the server runs. It behaves like a normal terminal, for example bash, but inside the Telegram mini application. It runs shell process on the server with output sent over WebSocket to the browser and input sent back the same way. So the terminal is essentially a remote shell inside the mini application connected to the host where the DigiCanvas server runs. So I click on the terminal and the shell opens. So So I am switching to the D drive. So I'm running the dir command. As you see, this is my D drive, which I can also access from the terminal inside the Telegram. You can see there is Lossless Cut, which is a lightweight open source video and audio editing tool designed for quick lossless trimming and cutting. I'm navigating to that folder. So inside the folder there is a lossless cut exe, which I'm going to run from the shell. You can see that it's executed on the host computer. And you should be very careful and only specify allow user IDs in the environment file. The OpenClaw dashboard is the central interface for controlling, monitoring, and interacting with OpenClaw, providing both visualization and command execution capabilities. Dashboard entries give you a complete view and control over channels, agents, interactive canvas content, terminals, logs, and configuring settings all in one interface. I discussed this in my previous videos on OpenClaw. To use the OpenClaw dashboard, we need to have the OpenClaw gateway running. First, in the project, you should enable OpenClaw entries and restart the server. In the original server.js file that I modified in order to connect to dashboard, it doesn't require device ID and should work without it if dangerously disabled device out is set to true and the gateway in the OpenClaw JSON file. But the default configuration didn't work, so I modified it to pass the device ID. Even in that case, you should still set dangerously disabled devices out to true in the OpenClaw JSON file and the gateway, or you would need to register the device. Now we will try to register the device. First I run OpenClaw devices list. And you can see that the IP ending 46 is the public ID of the tunnel, and the device is untrusted and cannot be connected from that IP. As you can see, since I have connected many times and the tunnel gives different IP each time, you have to register device each time. In general, it's best to remove the previously registered devices. So I'm registering it using OpenClaw devices approve. So it's registered. So you should also make sure that under the allowed origins set the tunnel URL. And note that using wildcard, something like this will not work. So now I click the control. And you can see also that the gateway token is passed. And I'm in the main session. And I can type hello, how are you? And you can see the response, which proves we have successfully connected to the dashboard. It's hello, how are you? This time, if I type hi here, you can see that I'm getting a response because I'm connected to the OpenClaw gateway. This is in contrast to the previous test of the canvas without the gateway, where no response was received. Let's discuss our custom chart skill. This application is a chart agent for Telegram. It lets you chat with it in a plain language and get stock charts back. For example, when you say things like MSFT stock chart last 5 days, the agent figures out what you want and creates charts for you. It works by fetching stock data, closing prices or trading volume, depending on what you ask for, turning that into charts, and then doing two things. It sends PNG chart image straight into the chat so you can see it immediately, and it pushes an interactive Chart.js version to Telegram mini app canvas. So you get both the static image in the conversation and the clickable interactive chart in the canvas. The agent is built so it doesn't ask follow-up questions. It infers the ticker, time range, and whether you want price or volume charts from what you write. It uses Brave Search to fetch market data once, then builds the chart HTML and quick chart URL for the PNG and pushes the interactive view to the Canvas server, which runs separately on port 3721. The TG Canvas push skill is the part that pushes HTML to that canvas via push and point with the shared token for authentication. Overall, it's conversational stock charting tool inside Telegram. You talk to it and it replies with both a chart image and the option to open interactive chart in the canvas. Let's first run it, then discuss. Let's type MSFT historical stock prices table last 5 days. March 2026. See that we got the chart image inside the chart and the interactive chart inside the canvas. We will discuss what's going on underneath. So I fixed the code. Try one more time. To understand how the chart skill works in general, all these files in the charts folder are generated based on the user's Telegram prompt about the chart. So chart.json, this is where the chart data lives. When you ask for a chart, for example, Apple stock last 5 days, the agent fetches the numbers once and writes them here. Labels like the dates and values like closing prices or volume. It's a simple JSON with title, labels, and data. The only rule is that labels and data must have the same length. The agent writes this file, nothing else creates it. So bar chart.js, this script takes chart data JSON and produces two outputs, chart HTML and chart URL txt. So its job is read the flat data and turn it into both the chart.js HTML page, the quick chart URL. If you press push, it also pushes the HTML to the TG Canvas server so the interactive chart shows up in the Telegram mini app. That's why it exists, one place that converts your data into both the interactive and the image ready versions. It's called by the agent. Chart HTML, this is an interactive chart page. Plain HTML with the canvas, it loads Chart.js from CDN and renders the chart from your data. The file goes to TG Canvas and it's what you see when you open the Canvas button in Telegram. It's the live Chart.js version. Chart URL txt is just a single line. It's quick chart API URL for this chart. Quick chart takes the URL and returns PNG, static PNG. Then build chart.js writes this file so another script can use it to fetch the image. So chart.png, this is the static image you actually receive in the chat. A separate script, the fetch quick chart.js, reads the URL from chart URL txt, fetches the image from quick chart and saves it as a chart.png. The agent then sends the PNG in the message tool so you see the chart in the Telegram chat. It is the screenshot version of the chat, while chart HTML is the interactive one. So in short, the agent puts data in chart data JSON, build chart.js turns that into chart HTML, and chart URL txt, and can push the HTML to canvas. The fetch quick start JS script uses chart URL txt to produce chart page for the chat. This is the agent. The user asked for MSFT historical stock prices table last 5 days, March 2026. This time we will prompt Apple daily trading volume. So it's not volume, not stock prices. So Apple daily trading volume history from March 1 to March 8, 2026. Apple daily trading volume history. March, mm, March 8, 2026.